everyone, this is Joanna. Welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me. Today I am going to recreate my very first pendant that got me started in jewelry making. And I made it without any special supplies, just stuff from my craft room. But I am a paper crafter, so I did have stamps and an X-Acto knife and things like that, but I didn't buy anything for jewelry making when I was making this particular pendant. Just a little brick of clay, which is under $2, so that was minimal investment, and I fell in love with it. And I hope that you guys will fall in love with it too if you guys are trying to start out in jewelry making, or you just want to give it a try. You probably have everything that you need for this craft in your craft room right now. So with that being said, I don't want to bore you anymore, but let's get started with our project today. I am so excited to share this with you guys. Okay, so just as I mentioned, this is going to be a copy of my first pendant that I created after watching a YouTube video and realizing that I do have a bunch of stuff around my craft room that would help me make a pendant. So what I did was I picked up a piece of clay from Micheals. You can get a little brick for under $2, probably $1.50. If you have coupon, that's even cheaper. And I decided to stamp it because that's what I've seen people do. Now, I don't have the stamp that I used on my first pendant. My favorite stamp by far, and used in so many of my videos, is Simon Says stamp Ornate Background. And the reason why I love it is because you can take that piece of clay and you can put it in so many different spots on one stamp, and you're gonna get so many different results. You have leaves here and the spirals and the little round circles here. I mean, it's just such a great stamp. However, today I'm not going to use that stamp. I'm going to use something a little bit different since I don't have the original stamp, and I am going to use this silicone mold that I used in my past videos for liquid clay, and you can get this one at Micheals as well. But you can, of course, it's a mold for liquid clay, but look at this. There's texture on it. When there is texture on it, we can use it on our pendants. It doesn't actually have to be even stamped. Anything that you find around the house with some kind of texture, you can use it on your stamp. And now I'm just going to grab it and I'm going to place it on top and see where do I want it. Well, it really doesn't matter. I'm just gonna put it here, and I think it's easier for me to go and roll it on the other side, just like that, upside down. Now when I first started, I did not have a roller, so what I was using was a marker, and I just made sure that the marker was smooth. This marker is actually pretty smooth. I don't feel any imperfections on it, so I would just go and I would roll the clay. And you know, sometimes you think that there are no imperfections, and then you roll it on the clay and then you're like, oh, there is a little something that is popping out. So make sure that you grab something that has absolutely nothing on them when you're going to be rolling. Otherwise you're going to get that's going to transfer on your clay. So I just stamped it here, and let's see what we're going to get. And there you go, we have some texture. So just imagine that was my when I was making the first pendant, that was what I got. I got some clay with a stamped image. Now the easiest thing to do is go ahead and grab a cookie cutter. Most of us do have cookie cutters, especially circular cookie cutters. So you can go ahead and use a cookie cutter on this. However, when I was making it, I was trying to copy a pendant I saw on Pinterest that was in the shape of a heart. Well, of course, I had nothing to cut the clay with, and I don't do anything freehand because I'm just horrible at it. So I decided to use my dies, and I put them flat side facing the clay. Okay, so let's see. Let me get some nice design here. This is pretty busy. That's a nice one. So the flat part is on the clay right now, and I started pressing it down, and I decided that, well, you can do it two ways. You can either take your little X-Acto knife and cut it on the inside of the die, or you can take your X-Acto knife and cut on the outside. When you're going to cut it on the outside, after we're going to lift the die, you're going to have a very nice frame for your pendant. So that's what I did, and that's what we're going to do today. I'm just going to leave it here, and you can see if you guys get those bezels, open back bezels in the shape of hearts, that would be perfect project for it as well, because then automatically you're going to have a very nice metal frame for it. But and then some of you guys may want to just freehand your design. I'm not good at freehanding anything. I don't freehand anything. I just stamp, and because I cannot draw to save my life or cut or do anything like that. Anyway, so we have it right here. It's nicely cut. I'm gonna put the rest of the clay on the side so it doesn't get dirty with my next step. Alright, so that's the point that I was at. I had clay, I used my die to create the shape and cut it out, and now what I saw someone do is I saw them put mica powder on the clay. So that's exactly what I'm doing. I picked up this mica powder pigment. There are 26 colors, and they will last you a lifetime. Like I said, I'm a paper crafter, and I have used so many of them on so many of my paper projects, which, oh my gosh, they are so awesome on your cards if you make cards, but they are just so amazing on jewelry as well. So the two colors that I picked is pink, which is very light, and the purplish red, which to me it's dark pink. Now the only trick here is, well, first of all, you don't want to use a brush to apply it. Well, you can if you want to. I'm not going to, because that's not what I want. I just want the color to be on top of the design. I still want the black parts, the ones that are indented, to be black. So I really don't want that much mica powder on it. So make sure that you don't have too much on your finger. And this is what you're gonna do. You're just gonna go and you're gonna lightly run through it and see how it's going to attach itself to your design. Try to stay away from the black part as much as you can. You can see that it really doesn't look like pink. It really doesn't. And now let's go to the darker one, and we're going to do exactly the same thing. I'm just putting the X's because I feel that I'm putting too much on, and let's just put that on. Such a pretty colors together. Although, like I said, the lighter one doesn't even look like pink when we're applying. And right here in between the two, you kind of want to go and blend the colors. If you want, you can go back here and add a little bit more. Okay, so the next step is going to be the removal of the die. I'm not quite sure if you can bake it. Maybe we can bake it in. I don't know. I use this die way too much, so I am not willing to put it in the oven. Maybe I should use it with some dyes that I really don't care for all that much, because there are some of those that you're like, oh my gosh, who created those? And so what I'm going to do is, because it's very warm right now, I don't want to do anything to this. So I'm going to put it on a little tile, and I'm going to throw it in the freezer probably for 10-15 minutes until I feel that it's nice and hard and I can remove that dye easily without disrupting the rest of the pendant. So I'll see you guys in a few minutes. So as you can see, I was completely out of control, and I had to make another one in different colors. And since I was using this die cut, I just went one step smaller. So I'm going to have two pendants now, because I already love them so much. So now I'm just gonna go in and try to, as gently as I can, remove the frame. Let's see if that's going to work for me. And always go ahead and fix the outside. Oh, it came out actually really great. Look at that. Came out beautiful. I don't even have to fix anything. We have still a little bit of the design on it. Maybe here when I was just grabbing it a little bit. Very nice. Now you have an option. We can just leave it completely black, or we can put mica powder on the outside. And I'm not quite sure what I want to do yet, so I can always add mica powder later. So how about if I'm just going to remove this little frame, and I'm going to throw them in the oven as I'm contemplating whether or not I should put mica on around the frame. I may just do it on one, not on the other. On the original one, I just left it as is. So let me just throw it in the oven, 260 degrees for 30 minutes, and I'll see you guys and we'll continue on. Okay, my pendants are out of the oven and I love them. I actually love them without the resin. I love the texture on them. But because my first pendant was with the resin on, I am going to put resin at least on one of them. I think I'm going to put it on the big one. I'll leave this one alone without the resin. I'll just use the regular varnish on it. But I think that came out really nice, and so far I have used pretty much everything from my paper crafting supply, with the exception of course, of the clay. Now the resin, I personally have been using for many years on tiles. I make tile coasters, which I probably should make a fun video on, because it's a great gift, especially for the holidays. So I did have the resin in my stash. However, you don't need to use resin. You can use Mod Podge on them if you want, just something to seal, or just leave them completely unsealed. I think that sealant really does make it look more finished though. So I would put some kind of a varnish. You know, you can put gloss if you like it, or matte if you like it. Polyurethane is another option, but that which I'm going to put on this. Now when I'm going to be applying resin, I'm going to apply it to the part with the mica powder only. So I'm going to leave this line here, or at least I'm going to attempt to leave it untouched, which means that I really need to pay attention to how much resin I'm using, because I don't want to put too much resin so that it's going to flow onto my little frame. So let's see how that goes. Okay, so I found Satin Glaze by Sculpey. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Well, that's a waste. I'm going to try to put some back in, but I'm just going to take it and start applying it to the pendant. Okay, so there you have it. A few different versions. I made an additional one and I didn't put any resin on this one, but you see this one here has the resin, this one has just a regular varnish, and this one has nothing. But honestly, this was so simple to make, and you can use your crafting supplies just to make a pendant. So you can see how basic you can really go and create something so pretty, especially now with the holidays coming up. Beautiful gifts, beautiful, beautiful gifts. Well, everyone, I hope you enjoyed it. I sure did. And make sure to comment, let me know what you thought about this project. Until next time, my friends, ta-ta!